it's something we feel. You know, we know USC is a huge part of Los Angeles. The amount of support that we get, how close this city is, it's just it's very near and dear to us. And so just want everybody to know that we're here and going to continue to support those efforts, the first responders, the families affected, as much as we possibly can. Second, want to go through just some of these new hires and responsibilities. I'm sure I'll get some questions on them here in a second, but obviously welcoming Rob Ryan, our assistant head coach for defense and linebackers coach. Obviously, not hard to find out about his history and the type of coach that he is, the type of players that he's coached. Very fortunate to be able to add him to our staff, and you can feel his energy, his experience, his impact already. Chad Savage is our tight ends and inside receivers coach, a guy that really stood out to us very quickly in the process when we were looking to make obviously the additional offensive staff hire, and really somebody that has caught our eye in terms of being an elite developer of talent, elite recruiter, tremendous connections on the West Coast, specifically in the Los Angeles area that we certainly feel already, and had the added benefit of working with knowing with and having worked with a lot of people that have worked with Chad directly. So that's been a tremendous hire. And then Trevon Reed here most recently as our corners coach. Something that we had looked at after the offseason, and certainly being able to take advantage of some of the new rules regarding coaching and what all the different staff members can do, was adding another full-time secondary coach to the mix. Our Coach Belk will still be certainly the lead secondary coach, and obviously assisted by Coach Lynn with his secondary experience. But bringing Trevon in as a former NFL player, another guy that's a tremendous recruiter, has great relationships, and we think will do a tremendous job in that room, pairing with Coach Belk and Coach Lynn. And then want to announce those that are at least officially hired in here right now on the personnel side. Obviously, Chad Bowden as the general manager, Dre Brown is executive director of scouting and personnel, and then Zaire Turner, the assistant AD of recruiting operations. Want to give a shout out just before I kind of talk about that staff as a whole, to Jen Cohen, to Jay Hillbrands, to Dave Emmerich. Those three in particular were vital in this process of really revamping our entire kind of off the field and personnel recruiting, scouting staff. These are hires and really a bigger change that has been in the works for, even before the season started. And I think we quickly recognized as we started vetting candidates, as we started having conversations, that this is obviously a ever-evolving world in college football. There were a lot of different people that we talked to in a lot of different areas, from the NFL, college, businesses. We talked to people with all types of backgrounds. It was the most, honestly, extensive search, hiring and interview process that I've ever been a part of. But I believe our patience and how thorough we were, how committed we all were, our administration was to getting this right, I think was absolutely rewarded. I think Chad, obviously his track record speaks for himself, and that was something that made sense pretty quickly when we were able to engage in some conversations with him in terms of our vision for USC, his vision for what we could continue to be, and there was just a general and shared excitement about where this place is going that I think really neither side could ignore. And then obviously really excited throughout his connections to add Dre and Zaire to the fold. We've got a couple others that will be announced here in the coming days and be here to Los Angeles that'll continue to round out that staff. But I fully believe when it's all said and done, and I don't say this lightly, I think it's going to be the best personnel off the field staff in the country. And that was the goal, to build that from the beginning. You see where these people have come from, their experience, the quality of jobs that they're leaving. They're not just doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. They see the opportunity here. They see the momentum here. And that's why we've been able to assemble that staff, along with, again, just tremendous support from Jen and everybody on the administrative side. And it's made a big difference. You can feel it, the excitement within our walls as a staff, bringing in this quality of people, the difference that it's going to make in our program. It is certainly going to be felt, and really already being felt. And I think it's also, again, another vote of confidence in terms of where this program is headed, to see these people join on with us, to see the investment by the university, and pairing with that, we've set some very aggressive goals from an NIL standpoint that our administration is heading up, and we really, we want to certainly continue to encourage all the great Trojans out there to continue to support that initiative, because just like hiring some of these great coaches we've been able to hiring this personnel staff, and investing, doing all the things that we're doing to keep this program accelerating, that's going to continue to be another big part. We're counting on all the Trojans to step up and do their part there, and as always, it's very much appreciated. Last thing I want to address here on the staffing part, two kind of reassignments within our staff. So Dave Emmerich obviously is transitioning out of the general manager role to the senior associate AD for football administration. Dave has been instrumental in all of these hires, has been a part of this process for us since this summer, and has really, has brought a ton of his experience and insight to this, and his vision was certainly key in putting the whole staff together, off the field, on the field, all parts of it. He is going to transition into a role where he's got oversight and a lot of involvement on all areas of our program, which is becoming more and more important as these staffs get bigger and you've got all these different moving arms, especially within my role, still having a pretty active part of the day-to-day coaching of our football team. Having somebody like that with his experience and that we know and trust will be instrumental going forward, and we couldn't have had a better person to do it, and he's been just tremendous during this transition. As you can imagine, the signing class, getting all these different people hired, transitioning to a different role, it's been a lot, and he's been a true Trojan through and through, and as a guy that's just, what is best for the team and how can I serve USC and help us win national championships. That's been his mindset and will continue to be. I also want to announce that we're going to transition Clark Stroud to the Executive Director for Player Development and University Relations. Clark, as many as you know, has worked together with me for years, going back to Oklahoma. He was the Dean of Students previously at that university, and really has a great gift for young people, the development of young people, putting together programs. And so the player development side is something that we are going to continue to invest in as a program. It's very, very important to us that we have a great support system set up for our players, that we leverage all the different opportunities that both this university and Los Angeles provide. And so that is going to become a much, I'd say, bigger and more heavily invested in part of our program, and Clark's going to be the one and is the perfect person to steer us kind of into the new era of player development here at USC. So we've got a couple other roles within the staff that will shift around as we take advantage of all the great skill sets and as we adapt to some of the different hirings that we've had, and we'll announce those at the appropriate time. And then finally, I want to get to our two signees here today. Give our staff a lot of credit. Two guys that were a little bit kind of under the radar, and people that we had our eyes on for a long time. Jaden Ramos and AJ Tuatelli, two defensive players. Jaden being an edge player out of Texas in the Houston area. We had some great connections there locally to his high school coaches and a couple of other people close to him, and somebody that we felt very strongly about from a developmental standpoint. Was a highly productive player in Texas this year that's got a great frame. We really fell in love with the kid when he came up on the visit, and excited to be able to sign him today. And then AJ, obviously from Las Vegas, a linebacker that really jumped off the tape, a kid that kind of blew up a little bit his senior year. One of those guys that in the new age of recruiting, where so much of this happens early, he's one of those guys that you go pop on this kid's senior tape and it really stands out. And so felt very fortunate to be able to identify him, to be able to build a relationship with him and his great family. Another guy that we had a great visit with here in Los Angeles and felt very strongly about, and very excited to be able to sign him and add his explosiveness, his character to our linebacker room. So excited to get those guys in the vote today, and that's those are the two that we're expecting. So team's doing very well right now, in the middle of in the middle of our off-season programming. So Coach Wiley and his staff, Rachel Subin and her staff have got some aggressive goals for our guys in terms of strength development, continuing to adapt these body types that we have, and so far off to a great start. So, yeah, those are really the announcements that I have here today. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have for me.
Okay, some questions. We'll raise our hand. We'll start with Keely.
Coach, as far as Coach Lynn's extension, how important was that to continue what you're building here with this defense?
Yeah, it definitely was important. You know, we felt like, you know, we made obviously some tremendous strides in year one with Coach Lynn. You know, it's a system that we very much believe in, and I think we understand the value of continuity. And we always want our guys to be able to move up when those great opportunities come, but at the same time, you know, I think, you know, building a culture, and I think a place where your staff members or your players, everybody is excited about the direction of where we're going, that you know, they want to continue to be a part of this climb. And I think, you know, when you get a chance to talk to Coach Lynn, I mean, that's what that was a big part of the reason that you know, he chose to remain here. You know, when your alma mater comes after you, you know, that pulls at people in different ways. And but I think in the end, you know, Dan wanted to be a Trojan. You know, and he's excited about what we're building. He sees the vision. He sees the changes. He sees the progress. He sees the new hires, and he sees all parts of that. The players that we have incoming, and so certainly retaining him and adding to that defensive staff in the way that we have is very exciting. I think it's very important for the program.
Multi-part question on the revamped personnel department. What was the initial impetus or moment when you realized we've got to rethink all of this? Does it start with talking to Jen Cohen and saying we need to really invest here? Is that kind of step one? And then how do all these additions tangibly impact recruiting success? How does it all lead into the outcome you want?
Yeah, I think it's something that we've all been aware of for a long time, and I think there's been, I think, a lot of opportunities along the line where we've started to have those conversations. I mean, really, you know, when we hired Dave, you know, several years ago, it was really for more of a role like he's going to be for us now. But then, obviously, college football changed, our administration changed. We had a few things moving, and so, you know, Dave is, like I said, really has been kind of for the team what we needed him to be in the certain moments. But I think we always believed that this transition was coming, and I think, you know, both Jen Cohen and Jay Hilbrand's, their experience in this business, having constant conversations with really all four of us about the future of this and kind of when was the right time and who do we target was important. You know, and I look back on it now, we could have rushed into different people, different structures at different times, and I don't know that we would be feeling as good as we do sitting here today, to be completely honest with you. I think our patience was tested throughout this process, because anytime you've got a new hire, you know that's something you want to do. There's an excitement and an eagerness to just get it done, get it behind you, like kind of get moving. But I think we all recognize that this is very important to get this right. And it's not just, obviously, you know, Chad was the first part of it. It is a huge part of it. But it's more than just one person. It's a system. It's a way of doing things. You restructure other jobs. You bring in other people around them. Like there's a lot to it. This was probably the most difficult hire that I've been a part of in all my years as being a head coach. Just because, you know, you want to go hire a linebacker coach, like go interview the best linebacker coaches. Now we probably got the best one on the planet, which worked out good. But it's a pretty simple process. You go hire a general manager, you know, in college football. You know, you go to the NFL, you go to the business sector, you know, you go to college, you know, how do you know who can build a system? You know, if they haven't been in college, how fast are they going to adapt? Like there's a lot to it. But we were very, very, very thorough, and like I said, I think we knew pretty quickly that this was going to happen at some point, but it happened at the perfect time with the perfect group of people.
How does the addition of Chad Bowden, how does that, you know, and the people that he's going to bring with him, how does that specifically benefit the USC football program?
Well, I think one, you know, and you'll get a chance to talk to Chad here in a minute, but you know, one of his biggest goals, and our biggest goals with this, was to allow our coaches to coach more. I know as crazy as that sounds, but we, you know, a lot of our coaches get pulled in so many different directions that you want to be able to, within your organization, that whatever strengths people bring to the table, you want to be able to accentuate those as much as you possibly can. And so our coaches are still certainly going to have a big role in evaluating, certainly going to still have a big role in recruiting, but their department is going to spearhead scouting. It's going to have a heavy role in recruiting. It's going to have a heavy role in how we construct our roster. It's going to have a heavy role in our salary cap and how we manage that, how we strategize. It is certainly, I don't know if it's fair to say that it's like completely to an NFL model, because different NFL teams do it in different ways, but it's certainly trending much closer to that, where there's a lot of synergy, but there's also kind of separate responsibilities, and it really is going to be kind of its own department within our program. And we wanted to build a team of people that allow that to operate at a higher level, where we can evaluate more people, we can recruit more people efficiently, and then we can manage the roster, take a few things off of the coaches, so the coaches can really dive heavily into coaching and developing our team, and allow our people in personnel, scouting, and recruiting to do their jobs at a high level.
Hi, everybody, sorry, we have, in order to save time, we have to move on to the next person. Thank you, Coach
We
Henry.
can do a couple more.
We want to push everybody
Yeah,
back? Sure,
we do 5 more minutes. Yeah.
Mark's got one.
Yeah.
Coach, at your introductory press conference at the top of the Coliseum, you said that you envisioned USC being the mecca of college football. How do these hires and these moves the past couple months help you get there?
Well, I think number one, they show that there's a lot of people outside this program to see what's happening here. I know it's our rivals and all that. Notre Dame's a good football program. Like, you don't just walk out of there. You look at where some of these people have left. This is not somebody moving up from, and these are not people moving up from like a 1AA program up to USC. That's that massive of a jump in terms of levels. I mean, these are people that have good jobs, right? Have responsibilities, they have histories, they have production. And again, whether you're talking about the coaches, the personnel staff, any of them, these are all high level people, and they wanted to be here. They see the progress, they see what's happening, they see things that honestly sometimes the average fan is maybe not going to quite recognize, because it's their profession. This is what these people live and breathe. And I didn't have to convince them, and that was one of the great things. I mean, a lot of these people came to us, a lot of these people pursued us, and had very shared interest and a shared vision. And so I think it shows that. I think it's our progress into the new age of college football. And I think it makes us as strong when you look at the coaching staff that we've assembled, and now the off the field, the staff that we've assembled. I think it's as strong as anywhere in the country, which is obviously a huge part of this program's success going forward.
Coach, could you shed some light on how the road recruiting will work? Because I know you'll be a road recruiter and you have the 10 assistants, but Coach Reed has coached 12. Can you mix and match coaches on the road at different times? Just how will that work?
Yeah, you can't currently like mix and match, like this guy this week, that guy that week. You still have to designate your 10 that can go out on the road. But we will certainly, you can do the math pretty quickly. Not every full-time coach for us will be on the road, and we may look at, which has become a little bit more popular in college football right now, of having even somebody on the off-the-field staff that's on the road as well, and that's becoming. Again, it's just a little bit more popular now. The rules have changed, and kind of the mindset around that has changed. So we've got some good options and some decisions that we've got to make before the spring recruiting period hits.
Lincoln, what was the process of giving Luke Heward the offensive coordinator title? And do you still plan on funding this?
Yeah. We'll continue to operate as normal. I think Luke's just taking a real leading role in what we're doing. I mean, he just he did a great job. I felt like with the quarterbacks, he certainly takes a lead role in how we organize and how we game plan, which is what that role typically has meant for us. He's been loyal. He's had a lot of people that have come after him and tried to take him to their programs, and he's another guy that very much believes in the vision. And so to reward his loyalty and reflective of the duties that he does, because he certainly for our offense is more than just a position coach. He certainly, you know, brings a lot of value and a lot of experience to the table, and is, you know, somebody I've grown to trust very much.
Lincoln, you just look back at the last couple of years, recognizing that you needed to target improvements on defensive staff, doing that, recognizing you needed to improve front office, doing that, local recruiting, all these areas. How have these last couple of years challenged you personally with your vision that you have for this program to be adaptable, and what areas do you feel like you've taken a step forward in terms of leading this program?
Yeah, no, it's been fun because I've said this before, but I mean, I do very much believe this, and probably a little bit more on the personnel side this time around. Like, I honestly don't believe we could have hired the same staff when I came in here 3 years ago. Like, I have a sense kind of for what the market was and the perception around it a little bit, and so. You know, I think there's a time and place for all this. There's big picture visions of what you want to do, but you can't always do every single thing right away. It doesn't always fit or work that way. And so I think it shows that you know, we're not content with any part of this program being average or even being good. Like that's not our mentality. Like any part of this program, we're evaluating on, is it at a national championship level? If it's not, is it trending that way quickly? And if it's not, we need to fix it. I mean, and that's just been the mentality from second one. And then I think, you know, Jen and her team coming in a few years ago have certainly given us the support and share that same mentality. And that's the same mentality that we want, you know, every Trojan to have, both inside the program, outside, everywhere. I mean, that's how it gets better, is you go bring in elite people, you go continue to raise the level of all parts of the program, and we're doing that. And my experience tells me you continue to do that, you continue to bring in elite people, elite players, then the results on the field are going to take care of themselves, and that's what will happen.
Coach, you brought in Chad Savage to be the general manager, and there's a real emphasis on the front office having strong relationships with recruiting. How is that going to work with you and that front office? How much, in other words, how much will you be involved with recruiting, with these guys taking some of it off of your plate?
Yeah, I'll still, you know, number one, it's a partnership together. You know, we're going to work together, and you know, Chad is going to lead the charge certainly on that side of it. I think my role will settle a little bit more into certainly the day-to-day recruiting of our top priorities, some of the people that we feel very strongly that we want to bring into USC. I'll probably have a little bit less day-to-day. Oversight's the right word. Certainly be involved in that, but knowing you have somebody, you know, there that day to day, whether, you know, I'm on the field coaching the guys or I'm on the road recruiting or whatever it is, that is running the show from that side. So that's what we wanted. That's what I wanted. I mean, that's, you know, one of Chad's first things we talked is like, I want to make it where you can just like coach. You can just coach the team, run the organization, and you know that these things are handled, and we're going to handle it. We're going to build a team that's going to take care of it for USC. And, you know, everything he's done up to this point, we've already got, honestly, for the amount of time he's been here, how much we've already got implemented and done up to this point is pretty remarkable. The staff that we've assembled, and he's obviously a huge hand in assembling. You start to see, you know, what that is like coming together. It's a good feeling to have those guys on our team. I can tell you that much.
As it sounds, I mean, both.
Yeah, it's all good. We need some good nicknames.
We'll do one more here.
Just know a little bit how unique you know this among the comprehensive process that they used to be. What were you guys looking for in these specifics, and maybe how the chat specific?
Yeah, we were looking for, which this was maybe there's a lot of tough parts to it. I mean, we were looking for somebody that the college landscape right now was not foreign to. We didn't really want somebody that we had to bring them in and teach them a lot. That was kind of not quite the point. And when you narrow that down, you also wanted somebody that had experience with salary caps, rosters, contracts, negotiations. I mean, there's that whole world of it. Certainly, you know, building the roster, some big picture vision, the ability to manage people, the ability for them to personally be involved in the recruiting process, to be able to build staff and operate a staff. There's a lot to it, so it starts to narrow it down, and it's a new enough kind of phenomenon in college football right now. It's not like there's just 100 of these and you just start going, you know, interview them. And so You know, do you go the NFL route? Again, do you look in the business world? I mean, each area kind of brought some strengths and weaknesses, and there were some great people that we interviewed. Again, it was thorough. I mean, I don't even want to begin to guess how many people we talked to, but it was a lot. But you know, once we were at the initial conversational chat, it was very clear to me that if all things aligned, he was going to be our next chief.
Thank you, Mr.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.